positive is the right half horizontal asymptote. Okay, heads up. Don't say it out loud. What am I putting in the green box? Waiting for more hit. The whole goal is to get all of you to pass the AP test. Not some of you, all of you. Pretty good. Let's go, Parker.
Would it be 10e negative, well, whatever, upper negative x over 5e upper negative x?
You're good. You can just say to the negative x is fine.
What is it?
I didn't know where 10 came from. Okay, raise your hand, please, if you were prepared to say what Parker just said. Show your hand. Okay, 2 points, 3 for Parker. Raise your hand if you were prepared to say something different. Hands up. Nice, pretty good split. Let's go, Macy. Okay, Macy said, hey, so the video can hear it. Macy said that when she looked at these two terms, she remembered that means 10e to negative 1 multiplied by whatever x I plug in. And the x's I'm going to plug in are going to get more and more positive. That means that exponent is going to get more and more negative. And e to an increasingly negative exponent becomes very, very close to 0. So when you add that to 6, the 6 is absolutely going to dominate as x grows. Raise your hand if you knew to write 6 over 2. And you also knew the reason that Macy said it. Like, you knew that. Give yourself 5 for that one. So this is incorrect. Hey, 1 second, Isaac. Look up, look. It's a classic example of what AP always does. They know, I swear they study the books that students study, they look at the problems everybody does. They know what you've been doing as homework, and they come up with a problem that forces you to stop and say, wait. Like, I can't just be on autopilot. I have to think through what's really happening, just like item by item. Like, and the best way I can say it is what I said a minute ago. You should have thought, okay, I've got 10e to negative 1 times whatever x is going to be. Like, I don't react impulsively. Like, I step by step it every time on the AP test. You'll hear me say this all year. If you try to hurry on the AP test, you'll get a terrible score. The goal is not to hurry. The goal is to be methodical. Like, the ACT is different. You have to hurry on the ACT to get a good score. But on the AP test, hurrying is a bad idea because you make this kind of a mistake. You just think it through item by item, just little element by element. Question. Like, we're done. The answer to this question is 3. That's it.
Is the AP test timed?
So the AP test is timed, but the time is not a problem. Most students come back from the AP test and they say, honestly, I didn't need all the time. Like, I did everything I could do. It wouldn't have helped to have more time.
Yeah.
Like, the things I got stuck on, I just didn't even know where to start. And these are people that are getting 4s and 5s.
Yeah.
You do what you can do, you're very methodical about it, and then that's it. So the time has not really ever been a huge issue.
And then what do you do with the questions that, like, you don't know?
So the way you take the AP test is, hey, for the AP test, you're going to go through the test like 3 times. Seriously. And you're looking for questions that are like, oh, that one looks pretty straight, I can do that one quick. You get those done first. Because you don't get more points for hard questions. Easy and hard count the same. So you get all the easy stuff done first, then you go back through it, do what I just call the medium stuff, and then you try to do the hard ones if you can. If you take that approach, You'll be fine. The time will expire and there'll be things you couldn't do, but oh well, guess and move on. So, if it's the multiple choice that's written, just don't worry about it. There were a lot of people last year got 5s. They're like, I couldn't do anything on this one written question. I didn't even know where to begin. They're very good at fooling you, but they still got 5s. So, the correct limit here is 3. That's it.
What do we have?
If you were writing it out, we would have done this. We kind of paused as I was trying to see how the class was doing. You do way better if you think. Just it doesn't really help for you just to watch me. So really, this limit problem, there's not a whole lot to write. It's like you just look at it, analyze it, and write down the answer. That's it.
Wait, so this one we would just write down the answer?
This one you literally could just write down the answer. Even on the written section, they wouldn't care. Like you did this, Steam. Like you just wrote, you didn't have this at all. You just wrote this. That's perfect.
But could we write 6 out of 2 as our final answer?
You could, either way. Yep, please.
I'm just getting stuck on like the therefore f of x has a right half horizontal asymptote. Like, could you just explain how you would come to that conclusion from the problem?
3 points. Okay, I gotta have all eyes on me again. Look at me, look up. Raise your hand if you, I think this will really help. Raise your hand if you remember me saying that whatever you learned about horizontal asymptotes, if you kind of retain that memory, it gets in your way in this class. Who remembers me saying that? 2 points, okay. It's better to start fresh and just say the definition of a horizontal asymptote is if the function has a limit as x approaches infinity and that limit is finite, it's not going to infinity, then there is a horizontal asymptote. There's no more explanation. Because the limit is finite, then there's a horizontal asymptote. That's it. It's just the definition.
Could you just
Go ahead. So I have a formula. If I want to know whether that formula has a horizontal asymptote or not, all I need to do is find the limit of that formula. Once I find the limit of that formula, I ask myself a simple question. Was the limit of that formula, did it exist? Yes. Was it infinity? No. It wasn't negative infinity either. It's a solid finite number. Then this function has a horizontal asymptote at that y value. Yeah, no, it's a good question, Andrew. That's just the definition of a horizontal asymptote. And what causes trouble, like I said, is when you learned it previously, you couldn't use that nice definition because you didn't know what a limit was. Like, so you talk about this idea of end behavior, whatever. It's simpler. It's just like, what's the limit?
so it's kind of saying like as x increases towards infinity, then the function itself will, like the y of the function will approach 3.
Perfect. And keep in mind that the y can actually equal 3. There's nothing wrong with that. It's very common for the y to simply approach 3, but could actually equal 3. That's much better. 3 more. Yeah, please, Isaac.
I'm just, I get how it's 3, but I'm just confused why. So with the part that we ignored because the 6 and the 2 overrule it, since, oh wait, never mind, I just answered my
That's it.
question.
3 more. Keep talking. It's awesome. No,
Well, I was
really.
thinking that, for some reason I was thinking that we were talking about x getting closer to 0, in which the, wait.
You got it.
I was
actually.
thinking of the bottom e to the negative x would be divided by almost 0, and so it would be undefined. But
Yeah, you're just kind of mixing that up. Hey, look up, look up. Don't pack up yet. We just always are tight for time. Try to use time as efficiently as I can. Go ahead, Doc.
Sorry, so how about for this one, we don't have to write the whole therefore thing from the other one?
You really should write the therefore part. Like, this is important. What wasn't needed is really this middle line. just because you can do it in your head. That's all. Pretty much.
So how do you know it's a right half horizontal asymptote and not a left half? If
Uh,
it was like -3, would it be a left half?
Oh, good comment. Hey, it has nothing to do with the negative here. It's all about the negative here. So if x is approaching positive infinity, think of the x coordinate. The x is going this way. So it's going to the right.
So it's kind of like what we were talking about on the first day where there was the infinity positive and infinity.
Yes, it's exactly the same thing.
But this one's just looking at the infinity positive.
Correct. One more question before you go. Look up. Oh, Parker.
Can we turn it off when we're talking to you?
So, hey, everybody, listen. Good question, Parker, to close. Two more. Look at me. Look. Yeah, I'm trying to convert you to the style of homework that you need to do for this class. The style of homework you have to do for this class is the college style, which means this is your notes. Like, you have to be learning from this. Like, you have to say, this is, like, I'm gonna have a buff, pink, and yellow packet, and that's all my knowledge of limits. Like, I have several problems that I was able to test my knowledge. I've got all the solutions that kind of confirm my knowledge, but this is it. So no, you keep it, because this is your record of what you learned. Good job.